Welcome to the story thus far. Welcome to Briera. It has been 50 years since the 3 enslavers were sealed away during the Great Celestial War, allowing people who were previously imprisoned to discover themselves and live their lives without any fear of punishment. Our story begins on this continent, but not just anywhere in this continent, on a border town between the elven lands of Aluin and the wild lands of the centaurs of Neabea. 3 different people have been called to this strange town. A centaur woman named Phlox, who serves the goddess Malu, a half-halfling, half-drow named Rhines, who has magic within that they have yet to discover, and Xander, a tiefling with unusual powers who will soon discover that these powers come from someone else. But not in my campaign because he was a temporary character. These 3 have been called because they all have something in common. They have a connection to the elven people, but they are not elves themselves. The centaur people are allied with Aluin. Xander was raised primarily doing trade with the elven people, and Rhines is half-drow. An elven woman with pure white hair and scars of a battle long past asks these 3 adventurers if they can do something for her. She needs them to go to the land of Lilia, which is the human country, and she needs them to report on anything that's happening in Lilia. The elven lands of Aluin have been closed off from the world for a very long time, only doing trade with the Aarakocra, the halflings, and Neabea. They don't allow anyone else in unless you have permission. Because of this, many of Aluin has no idea what is even going on in Lilia, or anywhere north, really. But there are rumors from Lilia. Rumors of a plague, rumors that the king is ill. This elven woman wants to know these things, and she wants these 3 adventurers to go to Lilia and discover what they can. She gives them each a sapphire pendant and says that they can contact her using that, but it only has 3 uses. And depending on how valuable the information is to her, they will be paid differently. She says that once they have completed their mission and she has discovered everything that she desires, they will be rewarded with 15,000 gold. The 3 adventurers set off to go towards Lilia. Phlox knows a good path, as she has traveled the lands of Neabea before. They reach the lands of Lilia, and they instantly discover something that shocks all of them. The halflings who are still in Lilia are not there because they want to be. They're there as indentured servants. Basically slaves, but, you know, slavery is illegal, so they're indentured servants. Phlox, who stands for justice, and a halfling goddess, and Rhines, who grew up a free halfling, are instantly enraged by this. A middle-aged halfling man approaches them and begs for their help in finding his daughter Edda. Phlox and Rhines instantly agree to help find Edda. However, Xander is a little annoyed as this was not what he was hired to do. The 3 of them manage to find the daughter. They rescue her from some bugbears. They blew up some shit. They save the day. They have a little bit of a fight where Xander is frustrated with Rhines and Phlox for wanting to rescue someone so inconsequential when they've been given a job, which is to go to Zeath, the capital of Lilia, and discover information, and not get distracted along the way. They split up. This was my way as the DM of getting Xander, who was a guest character, out of the campaign. He heads off to Zeath in the middle of the night. This town is called Nezia, and the next day, an unmasked woman called the Moth calls together people who seem like they're capable. She has a bit of an emergency situation. She needs to find her friend Eris, who's a tiefling, and she says that she can't say exactly why, but something has happened to him and he didn't make it to the meeting spot that they had agreed on. Phlox and Rhines decide to stick together, and they pick up a new friend who decides to go with them, an Aarakocra man named Capo. They head west in search of Eris, hoping that they can find any sign of him. They do find sign of him, and they eventually manage to track him down and find that some bandits have kidnapped him. They destroy the bandits with some mysterious help from the sky. A big white winged creature seems to keep flying around and shooting arrows at the bad guys. They are triumphant, they kill the bad guys, they rescue Eris. Eris thanks the party, and when the party wonders at why he had been targeted, he accidentally lets slip that he has one of the keys. What is a key, they wonder. Oh boy, the moth says, I guess you're involved now. Come with me, I'll explain everything once we're not in Lilia. The three adventurers all get a flying steed. The centaur is on a giant peryton because it would be weird if a centaur rode a Pegasus, and they fly off towards Kalea. Kalea was originally part of Lilia. Kalea is a lawless country now that used to be part of Lilia. However, it is now its own sort of lawless land as they split apart from Lilia after a civil war. The three adventurers, after a long day of flying, arrive in Kalea and come to a fortress, and they have a lot of questions for the moth. However, the moth is not ready to answer them yet. Eris says that he can't answer those questions while it can hear us. The moth says, I will tell you what is going on, but I need you to go to the city of Zul and retrieve a holy object. We need something to contain this item. What is this item, you might be wondering? Well, it's the orb inside of Eris' staff. The moth says that she has an agent named Envy in the holy city of Zul, and to seek out her agent so that Envy can help them. They ask for which way to go, and Eris and the moth give them opposite directions. Eris says that they should go around the canyon, while the moth says that they should go through the canyon. There have been warnings of the canyon, of people going in and never coming out, but it is the faster way to get to Zul. The party eventually decides to go through the canyon. While they're in the canyon, Phlox hears a distant howl of something that she recognizes from her past, but it seems bigger. They search for a while and eventually find themselves in a brothel. They meet up with Envy and tell Envy the secret code. They tell Envy what they're looking for, some sort of holy blessed container. Envy shares that she actually has a client within the temple of Desira, who is the goddess, the patron goddess of this town. Envy meets up with Cyrus, her client, who is the eyes of the temple of Desira, meaning that he is one of the three big men in charge. After, like, an hour of us playing and the players really struggling to figure out how to get up to a balcony because of some very unfortunate rolls, besides Envy, who is in the room with Cyrus, the rest of the party managed to finally get up onto the balcony of Cyrus, and they attack him, saying that they need his help. Cyrus agrees to get them the blessed object as long as none of them tell anyone about Envy, because he is ashamed of the fact that he's a holy man who has a call girl. However, Cyrus says that he has a few items that he needs the party to get for him. He needs them to get the holy water that has been blessed by Desira, which is another day or two's journey back into the canyon. It looks like the errand for the moth isn't going to be that easy after all. After they have a night of rest, the four adventurers, Envy now a part of the party, decide to head into the canyon. As they're following the stream that they've been instructed to follow, they find evidence of a fight. Phlox, who is inclined towards always helping, decides to immediately set off after whoever was attacked, as they had made it out alive. They follow the tracks and they eventually come to a satyr woman who introduces herself as Ollie. She has a broken leg, but other than that, she seems fine. When they ask Ollie what she's doing in the canyon, she is actually also looking for the same thing that they are looking for, the blessed holy spring of Desira. When Ollie finds out that the group is also on their way to this holy spring, she asks if she can come with them, because she still wants to go even though she's been attacked and had a broken leg. This is a common theme with Ollie. When they ask Ollie about the creature that attacked her, she said she'd been too scared to really get a good look, only that it had been huge, probably the size of a bear or even bigger. They make a camp, sleep overnight, and continue the next day, after hearing some strange growling during the night. They follow the stream further and further, and eventually come to the source. They are very cramped at this point, with literally only this much room on either side of them, and they've been walking through the water for a few hours now. They hear something behind them, and they turn around and find that the creature is after them. A giant creature with 2 huge heads, 4 eyes. It growls and howls and is running straight at them right along the canyon wall. They manage to get into the clearing and they fight the monster, which is a gigantic death dog which seems to have the ability to make people see things that aren't there. They defeat the giant death dog, they walk up to the top of the waterfall and don't find anything particularly holy, but they take some of the water nevertheless, because that is what they were sent there to do. In the middle of the night, an elf man appears from a cave, and he says that he is the ears of the Church of Desira, and he shares the truth about Desira. She doesn't exist. The goddess is nothing. It's a farce. The mouth and the eyes, Altundar and Cyrus, have become corrupt with the power. Zavruil, the ears, has decided that he no longer stands with them, and he decides to help out this party. It was Cyrus and Altundar who had sent the giant death dog after them in the first place. Zavruil had originally been a cleric of Lapora during the Great Celestial War. When the party shares what they need, some sort of blessed container, Zavruil is able to help them, and he brings them Lapora's box, which is nothing like Pandora's box. It is just a glass container that was blessed by Lapora herself. Oh, I should also mention that the treasure for the party at this point is Phlox found a cube of power, and Rhines found a broken cloak of Arachnida. I think that was it, though. Zavruil heals Ollie. Ollie says goodbye to her newfound friends, saying that she is not on that quest that they were originally on. Envy reveals a secret. First of all, that Envy is not female, and secondly, that Envy is not his name. His name is Kenvu, and he had been using the disguise of Envy as a way to get closer to the power in Zul. The party returns to Moth and Eris, and they seal the mysterious key, which is that orb that I mentioned earlier, inside of Lapora's box. Finally, they learn what a key is. The keys are the artifacts that were responsible for sealing away the 3 enslavers during the Great Celestial War. These keys still have the essences of these evil gods seeping through them, and the Moth and Eris hope to be able to contain them better. There are many keys out there. This key that Eris had found was just one of many. Eris asked the party to go to Kronos to fetch some special herbs that will help the moth get better. The moth's Pegasus, whose name is Taliesin, accompanies them, showing them the way. This was a bit of a shopping episode for my players. Capo found a peach that made you see stuff. Rhines hired some mercenaries to fix the cloak. Phlox commissioned some sweaters, and Kenvu bought some ammunition and a special locket. The party finds the herb shop that Eris had told them to find, and they request the herbs. However, they've learned that the 3 items are actually extremely dangerous and could easily kill anyone. They purchase them nevertheless, but have begun to feel suspicious of Eris. They decide that they're going to speak with the moth or with Taliesin privately without Eris being there to see if they can figure out more of what's going on. Of course, Taliesin is a Pegasus, but he does understand language, it's just he can't respond. They stay there for the night. They are about to head off when suddenly a tiny Aarakocra girl mistakes Capo to be her father. She's been searching for him and waiting for him because her mother always told her that her father was a green parrot type. Capo cannot have children, and there is no way that he is this child's mother. There's no way he is this child's father, but they grow concerned when the little child, who introduces herself as Renu, begins to beg for them to help her mother. They're unsure of what's going on exactly, but they decide to follow Renu to the mother to at least get some sort of clarity on the situation. However, when Renu brings them to the sewers and the slums where she lives, they find that the mother has been taken away by some pirate thugs. They realize that they probably had discovered something pretty bad, and so they decide to go after the pirate thugs to try and get Renu's mother back. Renu is very excited by this and follows, excited to finally have a papa in her life. And she almost dies. Yeah, she almost died during that battle. That was bad. I mean, she had an AC, really low AC, and Captain kept attacking her. Anyway, they fight some pirates, they kill the pirates, they find something horrific. An evil scientist has been experimenting on non-humans in Kronos who are unfortunate in their living situation, who need money. It appears that Rinu's mother was one of these people. The evil scientist has been trying to create some sort of super virus that will be able to wipe out certain species, and it has very, very nasty symptoms. The party is too late to rescue Rinu's mother, and she's dead. The party manages to corner the scientist, and they capture him and decide to take him to the moth, knowing that the moth would probably know a little more about what to do with him. Finally, after that little detour, and now with a orphan child who believes she's not orphaned because she thinks Capo is her dad, they return back to the fortress where the moth, Eris, and the rest of the people are. They come up with an idea. Perhaps the caretaker of the fortress, and a halfling woman named Etria, can take care of Rinu. Me, the DM, I was like, oh, you know what? It would be really great if Etria died. No, wait, I skipped some shit. They get back to the fortress and they talk to the moth privately without Eris being able to hear it, wondering what motivations Eris could possibly have with these deadly herbs. The moth shares that they have passed her test to become one of her agents, showing that they are loyal and have a good heart and use their heads. The moth also thanks them for bringing her the evil scientist, whose name is Dr. Calder, so I'm just gonna call him Dr. Calder from now on. Since Kalea doesn't have any authority, the moth is a bit of a secret authority in Kalea. She runs an organization of spies, sort of a shadow broker type thing, but not evil and terrible. I have to finish up this video soon because my camera keeps dying because I keep talking too much. Etria is sort of a mom. She's a mom. She's a mom type. She's super kind. She made soup for them and food, and she got a pillow for Phlox at one point because she was like, oh no, Phlox can't use a chair. I should get a pillow for her. I also forgot to explain that Etria has a family, however they are all still in Lilia and they are all indentured. The party approaches Etria to ask her if she would be willing to take care of Rinu. Before they can even ask her that though, Etria takes a swig of some wine that she said that a previous guest had left, and then promptly drops down dead. Oh no. And then I sent my players on a huge investigation little session where they had to gather clues and see if they could track down the killer. Oh my gosh, Ollie is here. Remember her, the little satyr? Yeah, I brought her back because I love Ollie. You're gonna start seeing a pattern of me having a soft spot for Ollie. But anyway, Ollie is considered to be the prime suspect of being the killer. However, the party backs her up, and when the moth interrogates her, Ollie breaks down, extremely upset that such a kind woman could have died. They eliminate Ollie from the suspects, but that brings it down to 2 people. There were 2 guests who stayed in the fortress the day before. Before Etria died, she wasn't able to say who gave her this wine. They investigate the 2 rooms where these strangers stayed and eventually find some interesting evidence, which I'm not going to go into because they've solved the crime at this point. Basically, the party went on a little quest. They brought Eris with them because they had the choice of bringing Eris or Ollie with them, and they decided to bring Eris. The party suddenly gets really attached to Eris, and now he's the butt of every single joke. A man named Lochran shares that he had known Etria and offers to help, and he says that the person who did it was definitely the half-dwarf who had stayed there. At first, they believe Lochran, but then it comes out that Lochran is a racist asshole, and he was the one who left the wine for Etria, and he intended for Etria to give it to Eris, because he hates tieflings. Lochran is also an agent of the Moth, a higher-ranking agent called a Ghost. The party nearly kill him, but they decide to bring him to the Moth. He literally had 3 HP, and then they were like, yeah, let's tie him up and take off all of his clothes. They return to the fortress, and when the Moth finds out that it was Lochran, who is responsible for Etria's death, she loses her shit, crushes his balls, kicks the shit out of him, and then ties him up to a stair banister and leaves him there. Also, that was another thing. Started blizzarding! Now that they've solved the case of who killed Etria, the party doesn't really have much else to do at this point. Ollie is still there, and they hang out with her for a little bit. They also get to meet Etria's daughter, who the moth managed to free from her indentured servitude. Is that the correct term? Her name's Annalise. Ollie gets a spooky vision in which she is visited by some sort of apparition of the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man legend is that he was the lover of Sio, the goddess of logic. Ollie gets this vision and has some spooky shit go down in which the Hanged Man requests for her to come to the Hanging Tree, which sounds like I'm ripping something off. I am ripping something off. He shows Ollie, but no one else in the group, how to get there. And the group thinks, oh, okay, must be our next quest. We're gonna go with Ollie to see what's going on at this place that this spooky ghost has asked her to come to. Nope, Ollie runs away in the middle of the night while they're all sleeping, and while they're all sleeping they get a spooky, spooky vision. What is this vision? The spooky vision is not really actually a vision, it's just some low voice speaking to them. Come hither, lost harbinger of doom, over yonder desert into the dragon tomb. Find the gnarled hand within the sands, revealed only by a darkened land. The fourth moon will rise in a fortnight, tinged blue and ever bright. Its glow will melt the sands away, revealing a secret until the day. Make haste, adventurer, unto this endeavor. With the moon gone, your chance will vanish forever. You've touched the key and accepted your role. Now your destiny can unfold. And then the party all wakes up and realize that they all had the same dream, with the same voice speaking to them. The Moth and Eris also confirmed that they heard this voice. It seems like they have a new quest that has to do with the desert. I'll have to update this next week with more because there's still more. My players are actually currently in the desert, but this is getting kind of long and I don't want these to be super, super long, and this is just me playing catch up right now. So thanks for watching the story thus far. Key plot points that I need to point out is the keys are important. The players now work for the Moth. The players love Eris for some reason. Ollie ran away in the middle of the blizzard. And Lochran is an asshole, but he's still alive. Oh, also the scientist, Dr. Calder, is still alive as well. And Renu's there. Still. Just a little baby Aarakocra who thinks that Capo is her dad. She's there, still. Shout out to Kenvu's player, who made this for me for my birthday last month. I'm super pumped about it. On the back, it says, Roll Initiative. It's super cool, and I'm gonna wear this in all of my story thus far videos. Probably in the shit my players do videos. I might find some other things to wear, but for now this is just too perfect. I love it. I love the power it gives me. Oh, I forgot to also mention that Rhines' cloak got fixed, and they have a functioning Cloak of Arachnida now. My phone just went off. Great. That's stuff from Kenvu's backstory, and I don't think I should say that. Crushes his balls and ties him up to a bedpost. Bedpost? Whoa! Not that kind of campaign.